Hello, YouTube modeling community. This is Russ Roeder with what's on my bench Friday. Got a lot of work done this week on the charger, and been doing some other things, getting stuff ready for Acme. It's going to take me pretty much right to the last day before I leave to have everything finalized and ready. I got to get pictures printed out at the picture place. I've still got to go get some mirrors. Everything I have, I'm going to set on a mirror, that way you can see the reflection from underneath. May tilt a couple of the models to give a better view, especially like the Pro Touring GTX and a couple of the other ones. And I'll probably 3D print something to do that with. Other than that, kind of been just mulling over in my head the plans for the shop, plans for the channel, and some other things, and I'll bring all that when it comes to attention. But we're going to jump in this. If you remember back when we first started talking about this build, this is the last big build of the year. Everything else should be a fairly simple, little modification, paint, and be done with it. In this case, the interior is completely scratch built. We are using the kit parts as our foundation, but like with the seats, I'm removing all this detail. That way I can add the detail that the real car has. Same way with the console. This is just kind of tacked in place. The height is perfect for the dash to come down and rest on this. You can kind of see the angle. This needs to be a little wider, and it's just leaning in, so it needs to be straightened up and shaped, and then the pieces added. This needs to be more oval shaped back here, but you can kind of see it's kind of cut and notched to go over the existing console, because it would have been just too much to cut all this out, and then I'd have to put a new tunnel in and do all this one. This clears the transmission, the engine. There's no issues. Everything's been checked, and checked. Trying to avoid all my past mistakes. But we got this all sanded smooth. I do need to cut these tabs down. And then we can do that real quick. Let me get my glasses on. So the way I do this, guys, is... Oh, I'll put them away. If you notice, on the kit, they have this open for the hood hinges or whatever to come down inside. You don't see it. Well, the real car's got actual real hinges. We're just not putting them on. So I want this all smooth. This is body color. So I just cut pieces to fit in there, and then let it dry for a couple days, and then I just come back and I'll flip the excess off like that. Now that'll get sanded down where it's flush. It's still a little high, but we got the main part of it off. And then I'll fill where I need to fill with putty and sand it all down smooth. And then it'll be ready for primer and then paint. But this piece won't go that far until I get the interior completely done, final sanded, assembled, other than the dash and the front seats. The front seats will go in last, but the door panels, since this is all one piece, the door panels will be in place, the back seats will be done, the console will be done to a degree, and then I can come back and get it painted how I need to get it painted, and then start adding the last pieces of detail, because the shifter's detailed. There's all kinds of the onboard computer stereo system. The knobs are all down here, the stereo is mounted up here in the console, and then the shifter's right here. That hole that hole that's inside there, that's where the shifter goes. And then there's a little bit of function buttons right behind it, and then there's some buttons right behind that, and then the rest becomes armrest or whatever. So I still got to make all that. I got to make the door panels. I got to redo the seats, front and rear, and then I got to make headrests for the front seats. I'm going to look through my kit parts, the old junkyard back here, and up here, and here, and here, and here, and everywhere because I've not organized it yet. And see if I can find some headrests that are close that maybe I can shape by sanding and chiseling or whatever, and then get them painted to match. The interior's two-toned, light gray, dark gray, with black accents here and there. And then the shifter knob is yellow with some black accent on it. And then the steering wheel is got a yellow stripe on it, dead center. And that brings me to our next problem I have. So I've gone through everything I know that I have anyways. I'm sure there's stuff I don't. This steering wheel, it's the old Momo style steering wheel. If anybody has a steering wheel like that, let me know. I'll be glad to trade you a 3D printed part for it, or send you $1 or $2, whatever. What I do with, oh, here it is. I tried to manipulate the kit steering wheel, and you can see that went swimmingly. I have to scratch build all this ribbing around this to add that detail. I will carbon fiber it and then paint the yellow stripe to replicate, what I can. But this gives you a good idea of what the dash looks like on the driver's side. You can see the instrument cluster, that's all custom. The dash is custom. So I need a steering wheel now. And what do we do? Oh, here's the dash. So I spent 2.5 hours yesterday. Took the kit dash, cut it apart, and then I started adding pieces to get what I need. So you can kind of see that's where those two knobs are down here. That's the little plate there. Then there's a little something that goes next to it. But then the dash itself, those two little white lines in the center, on each side of that is the gauges, speedometer, tachometer, and then in the center is all your onboard information that comes up. I'm going to use the bluish colored decal paper, cut a little piece to fit in there, and then I'll Mod Podge over that to represent a lens. And once I get the decals in there, and then I got a gel pen, I'm going to put all the little white lines on where the gauges end, which is basically up in the little corners here. It's not going to be much, and it's going to be really hard to do. I may not be able to pull that one off, but I'll get it as close as I can. But we got the top detail done. It's 2-stage and the dash is cut out. Now, once this is all final sanded and smooth, this is like a silver finish. Then the dash is the dark gray. It's almost like a grayish brown. And then I've got a decal that I had made that goes in here. It says captive. This little piece broke on me, but I can fix it. And it looks like jail bars going over the word captive. So I made the piece to go over the thing. I just got to fix it here. And I got a picture so you can see what that looks like. Oh, right here. It's backwards to you, but it looks like it's got jail bars over the word captive. And it says Ring Brothers underneath. So you'll be able to see that through the passenger window. So that detail will be there. Moving on. Also had to scratch build the bezels. I 3D print the center parts, so that wasn't a problem. But I had to make this piece look like this. So I just used 2 layers of real thin sheet styrene, and cut them down to the size. And we got that. You see it? So now it represents. Now that'll have to be masked off after it's clear coated. That way I can matte black the bezels, and then I'll chrome the inside of the tubes or the dumps. And then I've made my exhaust tips that will come out through there out of solder. These are all bent, made identical, just one for one side, one for the other. And once I'm ready, I'll drill these out and open them up, and you'll see those through those tubes. The chassis. So modifications. We didn't have to open up the wheel wells. This is wide enough to fit those tires with no problem. But we did modify the diff a little bit. We adapted a 4-link setup to it. I added all the little photo etch brackets. It does get coilovers, so that's what those holes back there are for. They go up at an angle, and then they mount to the back of the shackle for the 4-link. We notched the frame, because this won't be seen, for the exhaust to come up and 90 and come over and dump out through those vents. and they'll come up underneath the diff and come up to here. And I've got all those pieces made and cut to length, and the mufflers will go right here on the other side of the drive shaft, and that's as far as I got with the exhaust, because this will all be covered, and I don't want to be fighting all that. That way all I got to do is come from the mufflers up to the headers, and that won't be nothing. And I can get a nice shape on those once I do. I filled all the holes that were factory, for the leaf springs and exhaust and all that. Sanded them. So I got to get this in primer and see where I'm at as far as any more touch up on this. Front, I did remove the kingpins or torsion rods, whatever they're called, torsion rods. Sanded away any remnants of their existence. That cleared up everything I needed. I didn't have to modify the K-member or anything else. Just by removing those two, which none of this is right anyways. This should be back a little further. The rods were a little too long on this one. This kit is horrible. But at the end, it'll make a nice looking model. Now you can see I did modify, I heated the rear chassis and I curved that up. Why did I curve that up? Because if you look at this is the biggest problem with this kit is this rear end. As you know, these things are always wonky. So I stripped the back of it, got it lined up how it's supposed to be. I added a little filler piece up here and shaped it. I cut up into this a little bit and sanded it and shaped it. And cut the bottom of the valance to shape. I got a picture, there it is. You can see how it's modified here. Because it has a air diffuser in the back. And that covers up primarily all these little pegs, the gas tank, all that, the exhaust tips. It'll cover it all up. You want to see underneath to see that detail. The air diffuser is right here. I scratch built that. It's all sanded ready for primer. It sits on there primarily like that, and you can see the shape of that. Let's see, let's marry this together real quick. So when the interior tub's in, that comes up a little bit, and then this sits right down there, and that'll be matte black. And everything will fit tight. I've kind of pressed it all into place to make sure once it's all in place and glued, it sits like that, and then you see that air diffuser there on the side coming up past or below the quarter panel right to where my finger is. It starts like about right here and comes out. These need to be cut down a little bit. I've waited to the last minute to do that, but we're good. The bumpers have been tucked and shaved, de-chromed. I have to re-chrome them. I took the fangs or bumperettes off of them on front and rear. The front, if you look at this picture, you see the engine compartment's super clean. We've replicated these perfectly. The engine, and by the way, the engine does fit in there perfect. Everything lines up exactly how it's supposed to be. If you remember when I did the hood first, so I'd have it perfectly or in place where it needed to be in order to have the decals made to fit and look right. And I got lucky. That's all I can say. It's not skill because I've not done this before. I got lucky, and everything is going to line up 98% the way it should, and that's good enough for me. But yeah, we got these replicated, new holes drilled, and we're going to try to paint those to look like that. I'm going to start with like a white, and then paint the yellow, use the clear yellow amber underneath, and then clear coat over the whole thing and see if that kind of gives that appearance. I got a couple scrap ones I'm going to use as test dummies before I do the ones I've already cut and drilled and modified and everything else. We are going to try to modify the air tube. If not, I'll use the regular round tube and the cone filter. We will replicate these lines here. They're hard lines, so I got metal I can bend and replicate that. The radiator hose. This detail right here, though, where my finger is, that's the hood latch mechanism. That's what goes between the core support and the front bumper. We did scratch build that. And that is right here. It's so bright and tiny that it's going to be hard to see until it's painted. But I got the dropsies. I got the latch mechanism right there on my finger on the backside here. down in there. Got a pointer. Oh, here we go. Get it over here. This is hard to do. Right down in there is the lock mechanism, their latch. And then all this was replicated according to that picture. I just got to do some final sanding on it. And you can kind of see it's three-dimensional. Get it down here where you can see it. Everything's three-dimensional how it's supposed to be. And it fits because all this was scratch built. The custom core support, cowl cover, even has the which I see now the errors of my way, and I need to fix that. But that's okay. I can do that. These would normally attach. These right here would attach to the fender. This is what the front part of the fender would bolt to the core support. So I need to take those off there and move them up and fill some space in here, which is no big deal. Again, all this is down below the hood. Hood's already been put on. The motor's been in it, or engine, to make sure everything lines up and sits. The hood is wonky. I'm going to have to do some work with that before it goes into paint. But, yeah, I scratch built that as best as I could as far as the look. And try to get in there and sand. And, once it's primered, I can kind of get a better look and see if I got to do any more to it before I put it in paint. Then I got to move these little scratch built pieces here. It gets photo etched bolts, 2 of them on each one, but those will have to get moved up and lined up right here to the side of the fender on both sides, and then fill in from here up to the fender to give more of a look. And then this piece goes in right there like that, and this will be that semi-gloss black, and it'll go up to the bumper. And then what did we do with the bumper? We lost the bumper. That ain't good. Oh, here it is. You can see I stripped the bumper. It's been tucked and shaved. Shaped, squared off in the back now. These, you can run your finger along the fender and right over top of that and not get hung up on the bumper. So that everything's been tucked right, sanded, smooth. This will get masked off before I chrome, to put a thin line of chrome across the top of that grill, and then from there back to where my finger, this finger is, I'll fill in this with a little piece of styrene, sand it down smooth, and then that'll be semi-gloss black also to match this piece. And then all the engine compartment is the body color yellow, which we talked about. We're using the school bus yellow, Gravity, sealed bottle. Still good. This paint's like 4 years old. Still in great shape. No separation, no hardening or anything. Gravity does make some good paint, guys. I had some issues with the shipping constantly, so I don't order from them anymore just for that reason. But they do make good paint. So you've pretty much seen everything, and in place kind of. The engine has been primed to look for any imperfections. And I've not found any. I will be adding a aluminum oil filter just for some detail. This will all get detail painted. Everything is primarily black anyways. I'm thinking about trying to etch the Hellcat emblem right here on the top like the roll car has. It's so small, it's going to be really hard. I'd much rather have gotten a decal, and I didn't think about it, to fit that with just the Hellcat, like maybe in silver. This is where'd it go? Oh, here it is. If anybody would like me to make me a Hellcat decal, just the head, the Hellcat, round and silver, or like a light silver on clear. Measuring the wrong damn thing. It would have to be, and I'm using American measuring here, it would have to be 1/8 of an inch round, outer dimension. So if anybody's listening that makes some decals and you want to make me one, I would greatly appreciate it. I will pay you for that if you need money for it, or again, I will trade something for it. You just gotta let me know what you're looking for, and print me off 3 or 4 of them. That way, in case I mess one up, I have another one to go to, because this is all gonna be black, like a matte black look. So in order to make it stand out and visual, it would have to be like a silverish, grayish print. Excuse me. With a clear backing, that way the black shows through, and then the Hellcat will stand out. So let me know if you could do that for me. I can't do that kind of stuff. I can do all this other crazy crap. I intend to, because I want to learn how to make my own decals, and I don't like having to ask people for things if I can make it myself. But I've just not gotten the equipment and the right programs and all that to do all that. Excuse me, got choked. So that's primarily where I'm at. The car does have 2 gas caps. So, when in doubt, let's see. This one I've de-chromed. I got to sand it down still. This one still needs some final sanding. There's the scratch built one. You can kind of see the detail. I 3-layered it. The bottom layer is round, and then it's got that little ridge or edge all the way around. So if you look at this one, you'll see the same thing. It's kind of hard to see with the chrome, half on there and half off, but there's a lip all the way around the outer perimeter of the circle. So I did that, and then I added another layer, which is the same layer as the outer dimensions, which is a flat piece circle, and then that little square tab right there in front of my finger that comes out. The real gas cap has the same thing. It's just hard to see right now. And then the top layer, which is the fill cap, and the little tip that comes off of it right there in front of my little pinky. And same thing. So now I have 2 gas caps, because I thought I had a spare, but I didn't. So I scratch built it, and it turned out really good. One looks bigger than the other, but they're not. They are within a hair of each other. But I'm not done sanding this one either. So we do have an electric fan to go in. The battery is in the trunk. I was thinking, I can get this battery in there. I can add the kit, but there's no battery inside the engine compartment. It's in the trunk. Trunk doesn't open. We're not opening in the trunk, so we're not worried about the battery or the cables or anything like that. No MSD box visible. To me, I think this is probably pretty much a pretty stock with a good tune on it Hellcat engine. I saw interior pictures. It does have both keys, so it has the high horsepower and the low horsepower variations. And 800 horsepower. Jesus Christ, how much do you need? We also scratch built the front air dam. This took total of about 3 hours. By the time, this is the second attempt, and I cut and shaped by heating and taking flat pliers. These are great tools. Bending, shaping, getting this rounded edge here to format the way I wanted it to, and it did. It looks great. It's also beveled up here. This part right here where my finger is thicker, and down all the way across the front is thinner. Then it gets thick again, and it's shaped, angled, or notched, whatever you want to call it, and then goes back to being thick again around. When it's all done, better lighting, that'll be able to be seen. And if you ever see this in person, you'll be able to see it better. But that fit exactly how it's supposed to. I couldn't have been happier. I didn't think it was going to work. I was fighting it, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I got more material than I need, and then I started clipping away, and then I kind of sanded. I was like, holy crap. And then I heated it up one more time, and it just rolled right here, rolled right into place and lined up with the fender how it's supposed to. I was like, holy crap, I did it. and I didn't really have to fight it too hard, but I had to fight a little fight. But we got everything's kind of ready to go. Get into primer anyways and get the final sanding on everything. You know, we've got our rear. I showed you this, I think, already. But, you know, all that work done to the rear valance and getting that all lined up. And then once this is in place, you know, the air diffuser is going to be in there. You'll be able to see the coilovers, the bottom of them. In the pictures, that's how you see it. The primary focus right now is the interior. And we're gonna kind of play that by ear and see how it goes. If it gives me too much trouble, we will probably just clean up the seats, try to replicate them as much as possible. I'll smooth out the door panels on the inside and just add that detail without actually making the door panels. The dash we have, you know, we got it pretty good. We just got to do our final sanding and painting and, you know, all that stuff and see how it goes. There's yellow thread, you know, everything. Everything's stitched with yellow thread. You know, that's so tiny on the kit, I can't do that. What I was thinking about trying to do is take a fine paintbrush and just do skip to replicate, but it's so tiny that would be very tedious work. We did opt out the kit's master cylinder. I showed you that we're going to use a 3D printed one that I shaved one of the caps off. It replicates what's in the real car. This box is not in there. We are going to eliminate this, and then I'll fill in with 2 pieces of styrene, one on this angle and then one on this angle down here, and then we'll sand it all down, putty this in. I mean, this is really ready to go to primer now, but I need to putty this a little bit and then op this out and fill that in and putty that. I don't even know why to make this piece. I guess it was just for the master cylinder. I mean, this is truly the firewall, but it goes on there. And it, you know, the inner fender wells line up with it, and you don't see this piece here, but I did fill in these because at the top you see it. You know, you don't see it, you know, the center here, of course. But I could have probably just left this out and then just built this out a little bit, but you know, what the hey, this fits in there just right. It gives me a place to put the new master cylinder, and we'll clean this up, and then, you know, this piece will be nice. So when we get done here, I'm going to start working on this, and then I'll finish out my day on the interior. I also got to paint the NASCAR body today too, the Budweiser one. I've got it all sanded down. It's ready to go into paint. So we're going to get that painted with the MCW paints. I'll give you an update on that next week. Stay tuned at the end of this video for the better pictures of the GSX, the final. Did them in the photo booth, so I'll have a little collage at the end. So stay tuned for that. Thank you to all my past subs, present subs, future subs. Channel's growing, which is great. Remember, guys, you know, Mark at Hobby Nut Models. His link is down below. Even if you don't purchase something, hit that link. Go there, check anything out. You might find something you need, you want, pick it up. Helps us out here at this channel. Helps Mark out, and it helps you because you're getting something you need or you want. All the links for Ryan Jones are down below in the descriptions. Go show him some love. Pick you up a great set of wheels for that build you're getting ready to start, or a future one, you know, down the road you're getting ready to start. Remember, guys, when he makes his wheels, they're limited. He only runs them so long, ones that he produces himself. And after that, then they usually go on Colts, and then you have to be able to 3D print to do them. Stuff that's exclusive for VCG resins and for Joel at Iceman Collections. You know, they're the same way, but those are exclusive to them. The files don't go anywhere but to them. So, you know, if you don't get them in a hurry, or if they're not willing to make any more, that's it. You'll never see them again. So, you know, when I show you guys these wheels, and if they interest you, whoever I tell you is producing them, that you need to go check them out pretty quick and get you a set. That way you have them. And I think that's pretty much it. Going to Acme, I have shop cards. If you're not going to Acme, email me. I'll get you a shop card out. If not, I'll give you one there. I'll sign it personally right there and then. Introduce yourself. Tell me who you are. If you're on YouTube, just introduce yourself. That way I'm, oh, okay, yeah, hey. But if not, and you watch my channel, and you're going to be there, you just like going to shows, introduce yourself. Shake my hand. Get a shop card while you're there. And see some of my crap sitting on the table. Next year at Acme, this will go there. This will be out on the circuit this, spring, summer, because it probably won't be done until probably a month from now. We will be getting, once I get the Budweiser done back here, we will be getting the truck out, the 3100, and getting started on it. The Volkswagen is done. I got a couple little pieces to put on it, and then I'll give you a final on that. I got to get started on the other one for the club build, which is the Chevy 2 wagon. I've got a really cool idea for that one, and we'll touch base on that when we get started. And also the 53 Chevy Bel Air, which is just a beautiful paint job, nice set of tires and wheels, and I got a cool engine to put in it. Hopefully there's not a lot of modifying. A little bit for the wheels, because this thing's got like 22s all the way around on it, so I'm sure I'm going to have to modify some. And I know the hood has to be repaired and modified a little bit to make it back right. So there'll be a little work in that one. And then if we can get all that done, we got a little time before the end of the year. We're going to I mean, we'll have wife's choice and viewer's choice done by then too, but maybe we can get the gray Stang or the 60/66 C10 done. But we'll see how it goes. Because, like I said, after the first of the year, guys, we're going to be starting fresh. And you know what that means? It's diorama time. Diorama time, diorama time, diorama time. First, we'll be starting on the Ghostbusters. Once I get the foundation down and placement of things, then we're going to start on the gas station. Because I have to build some things to get how big it's going to be and where everything's going to set. So, but we'll have the table. We can get things out. We can start cutting, sewing, gluing, and all that, and have a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys are here to follow me on that journey and everything else I do. Any comments, leave them down below. Let me know what you think about the Charger, how it's going, what you think about what I've done to it so far. Something, anything you guys would like to see, you just let me know, and I'll do a quick little video and open box it and show you and tell you what my plans are for it, and all that. But thank you to all my past, present, future subs. If you're not subbed, please drop me a sub. Hit that bell notification so we know the videos come out, and stay tuned, guys. We got a lot coming, and we'll get a better review on this month's open box review, which was the Chevy 2 Gasser by Mobius. When we start that diorama, we may start that part of the diorama just by that build, so we can go more in depth on it. I think I owe it that much to go into it a little further. So that may be the first build. Keep me inspired about the diorama. And then we'll go from there. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. If we got some mail, we'll go over that. If we got a mental issue, which I do, but that's besides the point. Some mental thoughts. We will discuss that on Monday. So until then, guys, you have a great, safe weekend. Get some modeling in. Go check out all the other content creators. Fred Henry's always got some great stuff on his channel. Papa's Model Car Room. He's every Friday, model cars and coffee. It's always a great event. Model Cars with Glenn. Model Car Videos with Matthew. Lucas C. Brian G. All those guys, they all have great content. Even the new guys coming up, they've got some great content. William at Ruckus Rods and Customs. He's also in the group build. Oh, I want to touch base real quick. The Hot Wheels Replica group build. Me and one other gentleman, John Pinvos, are done. I will post his final pictures and mine, because he's sending them via email to me, that and mine on that video on the 27th of this month. That's when everybody else is due for update on your progress. If you get done, you can make whatever that month, that 27th of that month. It's just key because it's my birthday, guys. But the 27th of each month, if you get done, or you're done now, by all means, October 27th, make that your final video. And then email me pictures of the final build. Front, back, top, bottom, all the angles of the car. Send those pictures to me, because I'm going to take those and put them with everybody else's and make one picture to send to you when this is all over with. That way you have to hang up in your shop, your office, your house, whatever you want to do with it. Burn it, I don't care. But it's just my way of saying thank you for entering my group build. And then next year, hopefully it's bigger. I do have the availability to print those wheels. So next year, you won't have to fumble around and go to Ryan. You can. But you can come through me too. I mean, I got to pay Ryan for anything I print of his, so it's not a big deal. I can get them printed for you. You can go to Ryan, get his, either one. But I will have them that way. We will never run out of availability to have them for years to come. On that note, thank you. Have a great weekend. This is Rusty Rotor. I'm out.